One of my latest addictions is this amazing website and Facebook page called Grown and Flown. I love it, and I am excited to share. Lisa Heffernan is co-creator of this page, and we don't have Mary Dell on with us, but I don't know if you can speak for your business partner. But
I think I can by now.
I bet you can by now. I've just have been all over this page since I first learned about it from my sister, and visit grownandflown.com for more information. Everything from anything you can possibly imagine that has to do with children, families, all of this, you're going to find on the website. I am particularly fond of this Facebook page. And welcome to the Reading with Robin show, Lisa Heffernan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So when did this start? I know you have a book that you and Mary Dell put out in 2000. So which came first? Because maybe I'm a little late to the party.
No. The website started over 5 years ago now. We both had kids in high school and in college at the time. Our older kids, she has 2 kids, I have 3 kids. Our older kids were in college, our younger kids were in high school, and we just felt like there was very little on the web about parenting in what we thought were some of the toughest years of parenting. If you wanted to know about cloth diapers or paper diapers, if you wanted to know about starting kindergarten, there was just no end of material and blogs and conversations and Facebook groups and Facebook pages. If you wanted to know about teaching them to drive or what to do when they've crashed a car or issues surrounding getting into college or using drugs or dating or some of the things that we deal with in the teenage years, there was very little. So we just jumped into the fray.
So smart. And there's nothing like clever women, clever mamas getting together and joining forces. And clearly you've struck a huge chord. I love the Facebook page. And I see there's also a small group in there.
The group's almost 40,000 people.
Yes. And then what's the other group? I saw there was another.
There's 3 things. There's a website where we put new information up anywhere from 2 to 4 times a day. So these could be blog posts from moms writing about their experience. They could be pieces from doctors or from college counselors or from professors about their experience in the front of the classroom or from high school teachers. So we post a couple of times a day on a website, Grown and Flown. There's a Facebook page where we sort of put this stuff out into the world, and then there's a Facebook group with 40,000 parents. There's a very small group, and that's mostly people who contribute to the blog.
Okay, because that's the one I saw, the Grown and Flown Parenting Never-Ends Contributors. Okay, but the
main one is 40,000 parents who discuss every topic under the sun.
It is crazy. I am absolutely addicted to this page because you see everything from, one of the most amazing things was, I think it was yesterday, somebody offering up her home. We have, Hurricane Irma's hitting, people are evacuating, and she was opening up her home to, if people have kids that have left for college and and there's this immediate, this kindred spirit, parenting. It's such a supportive site. I mean, and I'm blown away, really, by how open people are, and it's a judgment-free zone for the most part. I mean, that is what you see. And what is the sense of how you monitor that? And how do you and Mary Dell sort of divide and conquer with this huge business project?
So in the group, it's the 2 of us as the administrators, and then we have 5 moderators that help us to keep it a judgment-free zone, because I would say 99% of what goes on in there is absolutely wonderful, supportive, helpful, kind, but there's always a small amount of people who are enabled by being behind a computer screen to say some things that aren't so nice.
Sure.
So the 7 of us monitor it and either ask people to take down their comments or ask them to leave the group if the group really isn't a good fit for them.
Right.
But there's a couple of other things that really make it what it is. One is that people are, as you said, kindred spirits. So you'll notice in the book group there's a file, and that file is called Moms Helping Moms. Moms Helping Other Moms' Kids or something. I can't remember. I titled it and I've forgotten it. And basically it's a list of where everybody lives if you're willing to help people's college kids out in your town.
Oh, nice.
So because our kids can be in very far-flung locations and they can get sick, they can not know where there's a local doctor, they can not know where there's a local emergency room, they can need any number of things in their newfound homes on college campuses. Moms have all over this country brought soup to kids, told them where they can find a doctor that they need, or dozens and dozens of stories that you can find in the group where people have just helped other people's kids out, total strangers who are in a Facebook group together because they live in that community and the kid is unfamiliar with that community. The other thing that we do, because these are teenagers and young adults, we have to be careful of their privacy. We, meaning moms, have to be careful of their privacy, and dads. We have dads in the group, too.
Sure.
So if someone has a very, very important topic, but one that they really feel they can't attach their name to, either because of their own privacy or much more often it's because they want to protect their child's privacy, they email it to us. And then we post it as an anonymous post. I'm sure you've seen some of these.
Oh, yes, I've seen all of it. I'm telling you, Lisa, I like I have my few things that I do when I get up in the morning. I go to NewYorkPost.com to see what's happening in the headlines, and I visit Grown and Flown on Facebook and the anonymous posts. I mean, I can see that people, not everybody has a support system, family, people, or friends they can trust, and I'm sure there's much more sharing that goes on, honestly, on these pages than face-to-face with old friends. You know, it's
and even if you do have family that you trust, and even if you have a community in your life where you can talk about things, two things. One is your child may not be ready for you to make whatever it is about their life public.
Of course,
so you may not be able to call in that community. You may not be able to talk to your friends. And two, and I think this is really what a Facebook group can do that really could never happen in the previous world that we were all born into. You may not know anybody in your real life who has ever had the experience that you're having, the parenting experience you're having, whatever that experience is. I'm just going to throw an example out there. There's a parent in our group who's written about her kid getting into trouble for cheating, for academic dishonesty. It's very likely that she doesn't actually know any other kid who's been through this experience. The kid is extremely sorry and extremely contrite and is hoping to be able to stay in his college. But once you put it out in a group of 40,000 parents from all over the country, other people will have had that experience, and you can learn something from their experience. So even if you live in a world where you have a wonderful family and you have incredibly supportive friends, they may just not have the experience you're having.
A great point, nor may be comfortable sharing with that. Like you say, it may not be something protecting your child, protecting, who knows what else. But this way, especially with the anonymous posts, because that, you're putting it out there. And I love reading especially when you put it out there and you have, say, 300 or 400 people who comment and, 80% or 90% of the comments are going one way. That's a pretty great polling of the audience.
It really is.
And there's always something I learn on that site or every post, whether it's something I'm looking for or not. And I'm speaking with Lisa Heffernan, and we're talking Grown and Flown Parents. You can find her website at grownandflown.com. There's a book that you and Mary Dell wrote last year. Is it gone into many reprintings? I'm not sure.
It's an ebook. It's an ebook, so you don't have to reprint ebooks.
Oh, I didn't know it was an ebook.
No, it's an ebook, so you don't have to reprint ebooks.
No, you don't. You just can go right there and download it and see.
Exactly.
Yeah, so information. Are you working on another one? I've got to think you have so many ideas.
Yeah. We've got things in the works, So.
Okay, because, you're...
the site is just a really, really dynamic place, and I think parents often feel that they stop buying books about babies. They stop haunting the bookstores in the parenting section. But, oh my goodness, if these aren't the most difficult years, if these aren't and the decisions and the things that we do are so consequential in these years.
Absolutely.
Whether you feed your kid peanut butter before 6 months or after 6 months, maybe that's not a good example because kids are allergic, but, whether they have solids at 6 months or 8 months, may not determine their lives the way, what they do academically, what they kind of risks that teenagers take and the dangerous things they do. And, these things can be life-changing, and we're their parents. And so it's a time where we actually need to pull together with other parents, where we need to look to the information from experts and, not kind of drift away from the parenting resources we looked upon when the kids were younger, but actually seek them out.
Well, I was seeing, what to expect when you're expecting was the Holy Bible back in the day. And so talking about, because I know my mother always said, little people, little problems. And it just gets more and more challenging. And as your tagline says, parenting never ends. And, who is this aimed at? I mean, what would be the high range of the parenting spectrum for?
It's 15 to 25. So we're aiming at parents who have kids basically starting high school. You know, if your kid starts high school at 14, well, this is certainly relevant for you. So from starting high school to those very first years when the kids are out of college, when they're trying to find their feet, first jobs, first apartments, you know, just trying to get themselves established in their adult lives.
So I'm over the edge, but thank you for welcoming me to continue in your.
You're welcome. Anyway.
Mine are just a little bit older than that, and yes. I find, you know, that's a whole other subset of parenting because they've maybe had their first jobs or they've had some of that experience and the roommates and sort of managing that, and it's not all what it's cracked up to be. There's more stuff to come, and it continues, and it really doesn't ever end. And I encourage the Reading with Robin audience to check out the Facebook page, Grown and Flown Parents, and the website, grownandflown.com. And I want to find that little tab where you can say where you live for the college students, where we are.
It's in one of the files in the Facebook group. In Grown and Flown Parents, it's a file, and you just add yourself to the file.
Okay, there's a file. This is very complicated for some of us, Lisa.
I know. Facebook doesn't make, you know, Facebook is devoting a lot of resources right now to groups. Groups are the focus. Mark Zuckerberg, we were fortunate enough to be invited to a conference with Mark Zuckerberg this summer where he said this is going to be a renewed focus for the company. And so they're creating a lot of functionality in groups, but it's all brand new. And so we don't have a better way yet to make that document.
Well, breaking news on Reading with Robin as well, Lisa. I really do appreciate that. To have Mark Zuckerberg's ear, what I really wish they would do is you can't break your friends down into geographic location, I don't think, right? Short of saying, where are my friends in, you know, if you want to help out in Texas or Florida. I don't think you can do that.
I think you can. I think I did it once, and now I'm forgetting how I did it. Yeah, and you do something once, and then you can't necessarily trace your steps. I think you can sort your friends. What I can't do is sort the group, which would be really helpful because then if a mom had a kid, if she lives in Wyoming and she's got a kid in Texas, then she could search on Texas moms. There's no way to do that inside of a group. But as I said, Facebook is coming out with new functionality all the time around groups.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to know this. I mean, it is amazing. Some days I think I can't remember a time when waking up and checking Facebook within the first, I don't know, 5 minutes or maybe an hour wasn't part of the day. You know, I can't, I mean, and down to like the parents who have, this wasn't part of my experience, some of the social media. And my kids aren't that much older, but old enough that was a window that we sort of, missed. So it's very different experience than, say, my sisters who are raising children. It could be 6 to 7 years, difference. It's not, it just changes all so quickly. And I was reading, there was a question about having a service dog on campus and allergies. Somebody was asking about why children would go abroad. She had, some questions about what those specific, reasons, or just like why would that be something kids would be interested in, and some really serious stuff too. I mean, what have you seen on the page, or are you ever really concerned?
The things that have made me concerned are people coming on the page concerned about their kids' mental health. That's mainly the thing that puts me most. And we've had 1 or 2 situations where we've reached out to the people and said immediately, you need to seek help. This is not a Facebook question. This is not something you put in a Facebook group. You need to contact your pediatrician or an emergency room. But that's only happened a couple of times. My concerns more are just, that I'm concerned that there are kids who are feeling so bad and are in pain. But mostly it's an exchange of information where parents get enlightenment and they get access to a resource they never would have to seek out what other people's experiences are. In the same way that we once did it in play groups and we once did it perhaps on the edges of the playground as our kids play in the sandbox, this is almost a digital sandbox.
It is a digital sandbox. I love that. Yeah.
Or a digital playground where we can stand around the sides and talk to each other about, my kids crashed the car. And there's one, I just put up an anonymous post today about somebody whose kid has been caught by other people, not the law. But
I saw that one. Yeah, him
driving at unsafe speeds. And she needs to do something about it because she's deeply concerned, obviously, about his safety and the safety of others. So these are the kinds of things on a little scale we would have discussed on the side of the playground, but we're discussing on a big scale over social media.
Yeah, it's invaluable information. I urge everybody to go to the Facebook page, Grown and Flown Parents, and visit the website, Grown and Flown, where you can now, I see, get T-shirts and mugs. It's great. It's great. I love that. It is.
People want the T-shirts because they want them for drop-offs and for Parents Weekend. So they want to go to Parents Weekend at their colleges wearing Grown and Flown T-shirts so they can identify each other in real life.
I love that. That's the in real life. And as you talk about in real life, there is a section here for events. So you have some meetups and
all over the country, all summer long. There've been meetups. They're spontaneous. So a mom will, in any given area, will just start a meetup and say, we're meeting in Phoenix, we're meeting in Los Angeles. And then other people get notified, and they jump on, and everyone meets for a drink or meets for a lunch or a coffee or something.
I think that is awesome. And if you wear your special T-shirt, you will be able to recognize each other with a wink and a nod. Is there a secret handshake even?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. I mean, is this what did you envision when you first started this 5 years ago with Mary Dell, and where do you imagine it going?
I had no idea. Everything has been it's a surprise to us, but I don't think part of it obviously was our naivete, but part of it is just the world has changed from 5 or 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Facebook groups weren't huge like this 5 or 6 years ago. You didn't put something out there and it just caught on fire the way it did. So I'm surprised, but I don't think I'm the only one.
Yeah. I think it's just an amazing thing. I know, especially projects that start out with one intention and then sort of people take over and it takes on a life of its own. And certainly you're in journalism, you're a writer. But you still don't really know until you put something out there and you just see the way people gravitate. I mean, which are some of the posts that you are most memorable to you where you couldn't even believe, how many numbers of people responded
on the site?
To? Yeah.
We had a short post on 6 reasons why parents cry when they drop their kids off.
Oh.
That blew up from the moment we put it up. I had no idea.
Just 6 reasons, huh?
Yeah, 6 reasons why moms cry at college dropout. My best friend from childhood is a college professor, mm-hmm. and she wrote a short post for us also about the 10 things that cause kids to succeed from what she sees in the front of the classroom. So she's a mom of a high school student. She wrote this for about 2 years ago. She was the mom of a middle school student at the time. Mm-hmm. But she wrote this from her perspective of being a college professor. Again, completely exploded.
Wow.
And I never predict these things right. I never know what's going to do well and what's not.
Well, that's part of the excitement,
that's some of the fun
right?
Of it. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you're dealing with all of these people, and that's the element of being online, connections online, and then the meetups in real life. I've been to different events where this happens with different groups, and you do just feel like you've known these people forever. And sometimes, the sharing, and if people take it off the page and just make other connections, and it isn't the same experience when the kids are little. It's true. I mean, you meet so many people out at all of the play groups and the parties and the parks and all of these things, and life takes different turns and people move and all of that. But via social media, you really can stay connected. Or I've seen where people are moving to a new community. Everybody sort of rushes in to say, to connect them to different people. And so it's filled with information and a really positive vibe. I just love it. I'm always asking people, have you been to Grown and Flown? Have you gone?
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, when I love something, Lisa, I love to share it. I mean, that's
great.
That's what I do. And so I'm glad to know that there are projects in the works, and that you can ask Mark Zuckerberg whatever you want. I think that's really.
Well, I was at a conference. He was leading the conference. I don't.
I'm kidding.
Not my personal question.
I'm just.
But it was
teasing.
great to hear that their focus is going to be on. They have a new mission statement on bringing people together, and this is the vehicle, groups. So this will be a renewed focus. I think we'll see the prominence of groups rise everywhere as this becomes one of the focuses of Facebook.
Well, that's cool. Well, it's funny, too, because, of course, when Facebook began, this was not its intention. Talk about something that started off one way, because the kids all jumped off. They're all on Instagram now. So
exactly.
As soon as we all sort of jumped on, they jumped off, because I remember, when they first were on there, and this was, clearly not, really talk about something that never could have been intended when he was at his dorm room figuring all of this out. It's just amazing. I have to ask, of course, because it's Reading with Robin, what have you read this summer? What would you like to share with the Reading with Robin audience, or what do you have on your nightstand ready to roll?
You know what I just read, and it's completely off topic, but very relevant to so much what's happening in America today. It's a book called, I think it's called The Warmth of Other Suns.
I don't know that one.
Very, very rarely do you read a book that changes everything about how you see a subject, and this is very much not parenting. It's about the migration of African Americans from the South to the North through the course of the 20th century. And it is, without a doubt, the best book I've ever read, a history where I thought, how do I not know this? How do I live in this country and not understand this at this level? So beautifully written, kind of just one of those books that changes your mind and changes the way you view American history. I think it's called The Warmth of Other Suns.
I'm writing this one down. That's awesome. I love.
It won the National Book Critics Award, so it's Isabel Wilkerson. So it's not like I discovered some gem that isn't out there. This book has been praised and showered with awards. But it is a book that you will read, and you will see so much of our current day country and the conflicts in our country differently. So to me, that's just, I can't recommend it high enough.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always love to know what people are reading, and that's the kind of thing that I share on my page. I mean, that's what are people reading? So I always like to know, and I will make sure to post that suggestion when I post the podcast. Is that something that people? I think there was something on your page about what were people reading, or there was a shout out.
Yeah, you could go in there. In the group, I asked people what they were reading because people always love those book suggestions.
They do.
Yeah, so if you go look, you'll get some great suggestions there. There were hundreds of them.
Yes, no, I know. That's as many as I have and as many as I share with my audience. I always like to know what people are reading because, just like it's nice to keep a pulse on that. And the other thing that you do I love is the sharing on Wednesdays. How did that come about?
You don't want people flooding your group with all of the amazing things that they're doing in their lives, but are kind of conversation stoppers. And the brags that we all want to have and the amazing businesses that we have so many people starting so many businesses or running businesses. And so we just post once a week on Wednesdays and say, this is a place to share all that. And everybody's super curious and looks through everything. But what it means is that the group itself stays in constant conversation rather than being stopped by those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's a really smart way to do that. And
you should put your podcast up there.
I certainly already did, Lisa.
Good. Excellent. Well, I haven't read it today, but there you go. Wonderful.
That's okay. Yeah, I was. It was funny because I do remember, I think my sister told me that on Wednesdays, and I've gone in, and that's part of being part of a community is being interested in what people are doing. So I always go in and check out what people are doing. That's actually how I knew about the mugs and the T-shirts for sale. So Mary Dell is in on the Wednesday share.
Yes, wonderful.
You've got that. You've got that there. Well, there's always something new happening, and I love to check out Grown and Flown Parents on Facebook. Go to their Facebook page, visit the website at grownandflown.com. And you have also, if people want to write for you, how do they go about doing that?
There's a platform called Submittable, and you just go on to Submittable, and you search on Grown and Flown, and you will find it'll walk you through instructions on how to. People used to email us, and then we would get deluged and we would lose the email. So we got ourselves much more organized. And this platform allows you to put in a few words about yourself and put in your submission and put in any photography if you have any photography and tell us anything about it. And we have a number of different editors who read, so then that gives a number of different people access to read all the submissions. Submittable.
Submittable, and you can search out Grown and Flown, and also you can join the email list and just click on join and put your info in there, and you will be joining.
And we send an email once a week with just some highlights on our site, but also some highlights on other places, stuff we find that we read all over that we just think is really relevant and interesting, and people would want to. Well, none of us can see everything or even a fraction of it, so we just pass on things we think are going to be really interesting to our readers.
it's just a great aggregation of information and relevant topics and interesting articles and all of that. I just love it. It's Grown and Flown, where parenting never ends. Visit grownandflown.com. And Lisa, this was such a treat. Thank you so much for your time, and it's wonderful to get to talk to you, and hope to meet you IRL one of these days.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.